Orlov is just one of the many new characters we meet as a part of the new zombie storyline. He is an interesting one because he isn't human, he is a zombie, but at the same time, he isn't. By the time you complete the Maschine Easter egg, you restore Orlov's brain function, so he has the ability to think for himself like a normal person, yet still looks like the undead. This is something we haven't previously seen in zombies. Yes, we've had characters like Brutus, he could talk. We also had Ted from Transit, although he was a robot. And the zombies have been able to say simple words previous to this, such as Sam, but Orlov can fully speak for himself. And so for that reason, he's a very interesting character. Taking a look at his appearance, he has necrosis all across his entire body, his mouth is completely torn, his nose is missing. You will notice he is a lot bigger and bulkier than the regular zombie. There are warts or blisters all over him. But what happened to Orlov to cause him to turn into this? Well, back in the 1940s during World War II, the Nazis, in a last-ditch attempt to win the war, pursued their efforts in a nuclear weapons program they called Viren. The goal was to build a nuclear reactor which could sustain a nuclear fission chain reaction. By the year of 1943, the Nazis opened up a facility in Poland, Moscow, where a project known as End Station was formed. Head of this project was Dr. Ulrich Vogel, and with the assistance of a scientist called Dr. Kurtz, they used the Project End Station facility to do experiments with a cyclotron accelerator. After a few failed experiments, the cyclotron malfunctioned, a system breach then opened up a dimensional gateway between their universe and a dimension known as the Dark Ether, and as the Dark Ether began to seep into the normal realm, a few of the scientists close to the rift became infected, causing a small undead outbreak on the site. However, the outbreak was eventually contained, meaning the scientists at End Station could continue with their research. As a few days passed by since the incident, Dr. Vogel and Dr. Kurtz began studying the men that were transformed by the cyclotron accident. They confirmed that an exotic element they called Exoelement 1, otherwise known as Ethereum, had contaminated their body, necrotized their flesh, and shut down their metabolic functions, while somehow keeping them alive. Dr. Vogel and Dr. Kurtz hoped to modify a decontamination chamber to try and heal them, and that's exactly what they did. A few weeks passed by. After a great deal of trial and error, the modifications to the decontamination chamber were complete. They called it Diveshla. This machine would have the ability to restore the minds of zombies, hopefully healing their men, their scientists that had become infected. But as extensive experimentation continued, because of the strain of the war, by the end of 1945, the Germans finally lost control of their experiments. Another outbreak occurred at the Moscow facility, but this time much bigger. This caused everyone at the site to flee. A couple of weeks after the site was abandoned, the Russians eventually arrived at the Project End Station facility, where a mechanic called Kazimir Zykov was volunteered by Colonel Lazarev to deactivate the cyclotron and stop the radiation leak. Ever since the breach of the Dark Ether, the cyclotron had begun running by itself, without a need of an external power source, and so the Russians sent in one of their mechanics to sacrifice his life to shut it down. Project End Station is then left forgotten for almost 40 years. That's until the 1980s, where the KGB rediscover files on Project End Station. They allocate resources to fund a KGB special operations group called Omega to go and find the facility and dig up whatever experiments the Nazis were doing back in the 1940s to try and use them and help them win the Cold War. When the Omega group eventually find the End Station facility, two Soviets named Dr. Peck and Dr. Valentina plan to reactivate the cyclotron and forge a new future for the Soviet Union.
Just think, Dr. Peck. In 2 days we will forge a new future for the Soviet Union.
So, I take it you found your men?
I found 2 volunteers for the task. You find that amusing?
No, more ironic, actually. In 1945, the Red Army volunteered a man's life to shut it down. 40 years later, here we are, volunteering men to reactivate it. It's almost poetic. Guess you can't teach an old Soviet new tricks.
I am not interested in tricks, Beck. I am interested in results. If my calculations are correct...
If your calculations are correct, we will have immediately achieved more than those Nazi bastards ever did.
And rest assured, they are correct.
Let's hope so. The Colonel doesn't want to suffer fools gladly.
They draw up a list of volunteers who could reactivate the cyclotron. Just some of the names on this list are Kazak, Elkin, Shumakov, Timchenko, Orlov, Shinov, Medvedev, Rozovsky, but only needing 2 volunteers, they pick out Medvedev and Orlov. Officer Medvedev and Officer Orlov are told that their courage and sacrifice will represent the pinnacle of Soviet strength. Their names will be echoed through Lubyanka's halls. They would be remembered as heroes.
This is Dr. Alexander Valentina, Psychotronics Research Lead for Omega Group. It is the 1st of November 1983. I have just given the order to reactivate the Project End Station Particle Accelerator. It is a monumental moment in Soviet history. Some, including myself, might even call it a turning point. 2 officers have volunteered for the task. Their courage and sacrifice represent the pinnacle of Soviet strength. Their names will be echoed through Lubyanka's halls. They will be remembered as heroes.
However, before entering the facility, knowing he won't make it out alive, Orlov speaks to a photo of his family, telling them to give him strength. The Omega Group have given him orders to restart the machine, and since it's his duty, he has no say. He knows he will never see them again.
My son, little Katya, I know you cannot hear me, but I must ask you, give me strength. Omega Group has given me my orders. I am to restart that infernal machine. In this, I have no say. It is my duty. When it is reactivated, I do not know what will happen. That information is considered very much above my rank, but considering the precautions the others now take, I must face the possibility that I may never see you again. I hope this is not true. I hope that nothing will change, that the world will stay as it is. But I fear I am opening a box that cannot be closed. I will see you both again.
Orlov and Medvedev then make their way down to the cyclotron, where they sacrifice themselves to shut it off. When they do this, they both become infected and turn into zombies.
I hope you are ready, comrade.
What I am ready for is to perform my duty as ordered.
You do not have to sound so cold. See these footsteps we take. This is a statement into history. When we restart the machine, a new chapter for Mother Russia begins. All thanks to us. We will be remembered as heroes, you and I. Do you not agree?
Do you know what will happen when we turn on that machine? Did they tell you anything?
They told me it was first step toward Soviet supremacy.
So they did not tell you either.
What more do you want? We were told enough. Come, we must complete our job. Which will it be, Orlov? Will you be remembered the hero or coward?
My hero, Medvedev. I hope.
A couple of weeks later, Weaver, head of Requiem's Field Operations Division, sends in a strike team to Morasko, Poland, to contain the threat not only from Omega, but also from the Beyond and the Undead. As the Requiem team make their way through the facility, they come across the Veshla, where Weaver realises that if they could repower it back up, they could use it to restore brain functionality to one of the zombies, and they could then use that zombie's help to deactivate the particle accelerator. And so, Requiem go on a mission, and after completing a few objectives, they finally restore power to the Veshla, and now needing a test subject to be trapped inside of it, so they could restore its brain function, they gather one of the big Megaton zombies trapped down here, trap it inside of the Veshla, and turn it on, where its mind is restored. Now with the ability to think for itself again, this zombie remembers that its name is Orlov. However, seeing what he has turned into, noticing that he has become a monster, his skin is necrotized, his flesh is peeling away, Orlov gets angry, breaks containment, and hides away in the darkness, not wanting anyone to see what he's become. Weaver then suggests that Requiem finds a way to lure him out, and so they find a picture of Orlov's family in the facility, they place it down as bait, and when Orlov sees it, he comes out of hiding, and it reminds him of what he's lost. He remembers what the Omega Group made him do by sacrificing himself, causing him to lose everything.
These faces are familiar to me. I knew them once. Years past. They were my simia, my family. I came here to this cursed land to do a job. And they had me, yet they made me turn on this machine of the dead. It caused horrible things. I caused horrible things. And Group, they have big plans. You are here to stop them. I will help you. We will shut off this infernal machine. Close the gateway. It will be the first step. I will repair the damage I have done.
Now wanting to stop Omega himself, Olaf agrees to help Requiem. Together, they turn off the cyclotron and close the gateway to the Dark Ether, but knowing he can't make it out alive, Olaf stays behind as the Requiem team escape the facility on a chopper, just as the cyclotron blows up, causing the facility to go nuclear. Olaf is killed in the blast. And that's his story. He was an officer that was volunteered by the Omega Group to go down and reactivate the cyclotron. When he did this, he became infected and turned into a zombie. And then a few weeks later, the Requiem team arrived, where they luckily trapped Orlov inside of the Veshler. They used it to restore his brain function, where he could now think for himself again. Because of what the Omega Group did to him, causing him to lose his family, Olaf then agrees to help Requiem destroy the cyclotron, but knowing he can't make it out with them, he stays behind and sacrifices himself, in which he is killed in the explosion that destroys the facility. So there we go. That is his story. Let me know in the comment section below what character you would like me to go over. I will be reading all of the comments. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Check out all of the other story of videos in the... well, they're not going to be in the description, but they are on the channel. So thank you guys for watching. Until then, goodbye.